Okay. Um, how's it going, everyone? Is my aspect ratio on my stream really weird? Is that just, am I just seeing it that way, or is this like super weird for you guys? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. All right. Okay. So, how do you guys feel about May Melee and which matches we want to start with? I'm going to try and get through over the next week the majority of these, um, at least as many of the interesting ones as I can. Vowels says do Valiant Paris, Soul versus Charge, or NYXL Hunters. Any close non-final? Okay, that's fair. I mean, I will say that obviously I'm familiar with this match. But other than that, I don't even think I watched a full map of any of the other series. I would just kind of have them on my second monitor while I like played TFT or like watched a movie or something. So I have like a vague idea of like I know some of the maps that were played. I know the styles of most of the teams just from scrimming, but I don't have a like a strong idea, or it's not like I've really watched these series before. So it really comes down to what you guys want to watch, because I'm not really a good judge of which series were interesting since I didn't really watch them. Um, so yeah, how do you guys feel? Do we want to watch first round games in NA or Asia? Do we want to jump all the way to semis? I don't want to start with a final. But yeah, just let me know how you guys feel. What do you want to watch? You're reviewing a majority over time. Start early. Yeah, I would agree. If we want to see an Asia game, I think that's fair. I I think they were playing a lot of Dive, and I think Dive was really good this week. But they were playing a lot of Ana and Sombra, which I'm like was not nearly as popular in NA while we were scrimming. So I'd be interested to watch those games and try and see what exactly is going on there and why they decided to play that comp exactly. Why they decided to use the Ana and the Sombra. Um, I mean, Shanghai ended up winning and almost lost in the first round to Spitfire. I haven't seen any of that series. I don't know anything about it whatsoever. Except I did see that one clip on Gibraltar where Lip and Fleta like both missed their EMPs or something because someone played Echo and copied a Sombra or something, and they both whiffed their EMPs, but then Glister hit one. Um, so yeah, we can start with Shanghai, London. Let's get started with that one. So let's see if we can find that. Here we go.
Welcome back, ladies and
Alright, let's
gentlemen,
make
to
sure
the
this
Overwatch
quality
League.
is cranked up here.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch.
Oh, that's so funny. They don't even give them actual backdrops, so they made them green screen into backdrops. That's unlucky, but that's okay. I'm so excited that Pixie and Avril got to cast
League May
um,
Melee, where we have our
this match, to be honest. I think that it's really overdue. I was so hoping that they would be in Overwatch League this season. But hopefully, I heard really good things about how they did. So hopefully they were well received and they'll get more opportunities to cast Overwatch League matches in the future. I have no idea if that will be the case, but we can be hopeful. So going in here, it's Shanghai versus London. Obviously, Shanghai, one of the favored, one of the best teams in Asia, did end up winning the tournament. And London, a pretty slept on team, in my opinion. They have so much talent on their roster. It's actually insane. I'm not that familiar with all, though. But I think Glister, JMac, Bernard, and Hiley are all very, very good. Sanguinar is also came into the league kind of an unknown quantity, but he's proved himself to be pretty solid. But Shanghai, they're the higher seed, so this was their map pick, and they went to Lijiang. And that's an interesting pick because Lijiang is a map that, at least in NA, didn't really have a similar meta to a lot of other maps. In most other maps, you're either playing dive or double shield, but Lijiang is definitely a map where both dive and double shield are probably a little suboptimal on a couple of the points. So you end up playing a lot of like Lucio-based rush comps. So that's an interesting pick from Shanghai, kind of saying that they don't want to hard commit to either a dive or a double shield Koth map, something like Ilios, something like Busan, where you see a lot more of those hyper meta comps, and they want to go to Lijiang and maybe make London play something that they aren't as practiced on, because you expect the teams to have prepped those hyper meta comps that will be available in the majority of situations. So that's a really interesting pick from Shanghai to start. Hey Dream, how are you? I am doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm excited to dig into these games. I didn't want to do any VOD review streams, obviously, during the days when the tournament was happening, just because there was so much Overwatch. And then I wanted to give it one day for everyone to kind of decompress, because we had like 72 hours of Overwatch straight. But I've been itching to do this VOD review, so I'm really excited to get it started here. Okay, so we start out on Gardens, and Shanghai is playing a very anti-dive comp. This comp is not really good at beating other rush compositions, other Reinhardt-based compositions. This McCree Torb tells me that they were expecting dive, and this Bat Brig tells me they were expecting dive. So they're trying to counter a dive comp, but London does not play the dive comp. Instead, they just go for a full double shield comp and rotate through White Room, saying we'll give you the map control early because we don't have a good heads-up comp against a lot of comps in the open. So we'll play a comp we're confident on and rotate and play our space. So I really like this rollout from London. It's very safe. It's not greedy, but it lets them play the comp they want to play. They're already having a hard time pushing in, though. And they really shouldn't be having a hard time versus a comp like this getting on their half of the point. Okay, they finally are pushing in, and Stand 1 is getting aggressive. He's finally got the second bubble up. But Bernard's doing a really good job of controlling and not letting the Reinhardt get too aggressive. Already the Baptiste online for both teams. So it's really going to come down to who can get more value out of that and their drones. Both drones are very hard to break, although has already broken that. And this Zarya is getting scary with the charge. Holy, that's a giant dynamite, and the flux coming out. Bernard and the Bob. So ult's already built up from London. The high noon is not enough. And I think just when you're in a situation where both teams are playing really slow with a Bat Brig, the shield health and the pressure over time from London's comp is just going to win against Shanghai's if they're not able to kind of run in quickly with the Rein Zarya. They're just going to lose to the double shield. So I'm hoping that Shanghai will use things like their Torbolt, their Rein, and their Zarya here in this fight, and maybe look to make a composition swap and get off of these heroes. They do have a good ultimate advantage right here, though. They have so many ults because London did invest both the Flux and the Bob last fight to win. So I think an early rally would be really good here. Then they can look for maybe the Grav Torb ult combo. I think that would be super strong and could definitely burn through this front line, and the Baptiste drone would have a hard time sustaining through that. So London's doing a really good job in playing space, kiting backwards, making them have to push the maximum amount of space in. Use the Echo ult to try and survive this Grav, but it's just going to be super hard to live through the Grav Torbolt. I think just in general, it's a huge ultimate investment to use the Grav Torb together, because those are ults you want to stagger, but London's actually sustaining and turning this fight around. That's insane. That's actually crazy. So although is dead, and they break the drone and the bongo, but JMac still had his gold this whole time and pushes in while he's getting hard pocketed by Hailey. And they actually manage to live. That's crazy. So just the very high sustain from London with the Brig Bap as well as the Echo swapping to a tank to give a lot of shielding and HP actually lives through. So Shanghai is in a really bad position now. They have to change comps. They are absolutely screwed. That was insane kiting by London and great sustain. And that's just what's going to happen with Shanghai's comp. They don't have a Lucio. They can't run onto you. And this is just a much tankier, more sustainy comp from London. I really would have liked to at least see a Lucio swap if they're going to keep the Rhine and the McCree here, but that's not going to happen. I really don't know why Stand 1 doesn't just go Orisa here when Void is swapping anyways. It's very odd. Great pull Flux in the choke. The drone is not enough. Gets broken really fast. And does Void get like booped off or something here? I don't know what happens to Void here. Let's see. He's trying to avoid the Flux, and he does. He just gets booped off by Glister. Huge play. Between that and the pull Flux, there's no way that they're pulling this fight back. So really strong first round from London. Shanghai tried to play a comp that could win multiple matchups and go main right away. And London just picked a greedy comp, but took the less good pathing, but just said, hey, we'll play around our comp and make it work. And they did exactly that. So I feel like that was really, really well played from London. I'm interested to see if Control Center comes up next. No, it's Night Market. So London can maybe get away with playing a similar comp like this on Night Market. Control Center is really where I feel like they'll be pressured to maybe change some of these heroes around. But on Night Market, I think you can basically just keep running this composition. It looks like Shanghai might be playing something similar again this round. I think it's weird for them to have Lucio right here with the Sim unless they're actually keeping the Lucio, because usually you don't speed boost out and take a TP unless you're keeping like both of these heroes. So this is kind of weird. Okay, no, he does just swap instantly. So they are going to play the very similar comp, but with the Sigma instead, where London is sticking to their guns. Let's see. Real Dream Review. What's up, Enko? Hey, Peggy, how's it going? Thank you for hopping in here. Just going to say that my opinion is that the NA observing was way, way better than the Asia observing. Just my personal opinion from what I already watched. So Shanghai going to take a lot of space aggressively with their Rhine, and that's what the Rhine shield kind of lets you do versus the Orisa. Orisa, you kind of have to commit to your space, where Rhine can just keep walking forward and taking more. But London is not afraid to play patiently on this comp and just know that they have the better comp and spam out. So they've already forced the drone and broken it, so they can really afford to be a little more aggressive here over the next 10 seconds or so before that drone comes back up. But they're still just playing it slow. They're not worried about it. Looking for pulls, looking for spam with the Ash, with the Dynamite. The cap already comes in for Shanghai, but London not worried about it. They know they're going to build up ults. They know they want to win the long fight. And Shanghai doesn't have the Lucio speed to be able to just run in and engage. Really confused about this Torb pick. I'm going to be honest. And Shanghai finally feels like they're losing the spam war. They have no choice but to push out. But they just don't have the ability to close the gap onto London. London is playing so patiently with this composition. And I really hope that Shanghai learned from last round and does not keep this comp for their retake. That's just so silly in my opinion. Like, Rhine is just not a good hero in this composition. I'm not certain like what value Rhine gives you at all here over an Orisa. Very, very odd, I think. Good off-angling from Bernard. They're getting so much value, just making it so hard to walk in with no... I keep harping on it, but I don't know how you can play this comp with no Lucio and try and run on this team. So they use the Bongo early to hold space to make it hard to push in. They're going to flux afterwards. The drone was not forced by the Bongo, and that's really what you want to do here, is use one ult to force the drone and then kill with the second ult. But they actually are not able to force the drone using their Bongo. So they end up having to invest 4 ults here, but it should be a fight win because they still have their drone up to deal with this flux. But it's a heavy investment here from London because they weren't able to get a lot of bongo value. So I really would like to see that be a little cleaner. They could have won this with just 2 ults. Either pull flux first, because that's a very easy way to force the drone. And then bongo means if they try and push in, they're just going to die. Or if you're going to bongo early, you really have to commit on jumping on probably the Sigma to be able to force the drone reliably. Lip at least getting off the McCree, trying to match the spam level that London has, but I feel like it might be too little too late. Already at 80%, not a lot of ults available. Again, drone forced early from Shanghai. I don't know why that is, why they felt the need to use the drone here. I think Luffy just put the drone down so they could aggressively peek with his ultimate, but Spitfire just wisely backs off and nullifies both of these big cooldowns from Luffy. That's a giant misplay, in my opinion, and is not what you want to see at all. Now, Fleta looking to get aggressive. Okay, Void gets a huge pick onto Hylie. I think Hylie still had the drone up, but goes down. That's a massive issue. With J-Mac dying as well, you'd hope that this will be the flip finally coming in, Glister down. So this will definitely be a flip for Shanghai. Despite them making a lot of mistakes, they are able to push in off the pick onto Hylie. And now for their push in, they're going to have to slow play a little bit and try and build up some of these tank ults for sure. They can do that safely, though. They can just play high ground. No, they're actually on the low ground. That's interesting here. This is going to be hard for Shanghai, though. They have people that are out of position that are not going to be able to rotate back to point here. So they have to fight in the open. They use the Shatter, get someone down, but no kills. And this is where it's really scary. Look, Luffy is across. I think this is Fleta. They're across. They can't get to point. And this Flux and Bongo are both about to come up. And it's going to be very hard for Shanghai here. It's going to be super easy to split their team using these ultimates. Echo getting a lot of pressure here, off-angling. Stand 1 just continuing to not do anything on this Reinhardt. And that's not because he's playing poorly. It's just kind of a useless hero in this composition. I really am confused why they want to run this here. And the aggressive Bongo push to try and split the team. They get forced back by both the Flux and the Bob. So good stalling coming here from Shanghai. I feel like London needs to be willing to push in aggressively. They have the rally. They have the Bongo. Oh, no, the Bongo just ended. So they really need to push. And Void is off by himself. This is so punishable. But they do not get in. Can they even touch? Okay, they do touch. And with the Rhine copy, they're so aggressive. But splitting the team in half, they have not really been able to capitalize as much as I want. But as soon as they pop the pull shatter play, they really are going to run away with this fight. So I think that, honestly, London's just playing very patiently and playing their comp well. But Shanghai was still able to force mistakes and make good plays. Their comp just really made things very, very difficult for them. I feel like that was just terrible composition choices, as well as some misplays with their lamp cooldowns. They were using that drone so early every fight. So good first win for London on Shanghai's map pick. Shanghai's reaction to this is to go Hollywood. London says we're going to keep playing the same comp. I do think this double shield composition is very playable in Hollywood defense. Sometimes it can be hard in attack, but I think it is really good in defense. It just comes down to how this first fight goes. And if Shanghai plays an aggressive dive and gets a first pick, they can really snowball the first 2 points of the map before London can stabilize. So it is a little risky from London, but they seem confident playing a very reserved, very slow, safe style and just kind of letting their composition and their teamwork do the work instead of relying on taking duels and relying on individual play. Okay, and Shanghai is playing this dive comp that a lot of Asian teams were playing that I don't understand, especially in attack. into a double shield composition, I feel like it's so hard to get kills with this comp. You have so little damage with these DPS. And it's so hard to get your Sombra in a good position to be able to spam enough to build EMPs, to be able to get quality hacks off. It's so hard to get good sleeps and nades when you're attacking into this composition. I really feel like they would be better served by having a Zen here and playing to be able to spam shields and being able to actually hard dive onto a discorded target. It's very odd to me that you would want to play Ana in attack here. I feel like this composition is very good once you get rolling and you can cycle your ultimates. You can nano your monkey so that he can build primal and make space. And then you nano monkey, which gives you time to build EMP. Then you can EMP. Then you have Echo ult. You can use Echo ult to stall out a fight while you farm more ults. And you kind of win off of having good, really, really strong ultimates in this comp. Whereas like some of the ults for London's comp aren't that good. Particularly Baptiste ult and Ashe ult aren't really good against a sustainy dive comp like this. But it's very hard to do that in attack. In defense, it's much easier to build up that fast first nano and start cycling your ults. But in attack, it can be really hard. So we'll have to see if Shanghai has any good plans on how to do this. And maybe Void was looking to take a little damage to build up that nano, but he just instantly gets demeched. So that's unfortunate. And it does look like Fearless is going to take a little poke. Maybe try and give Luffy an opportunity to build more up towards that that first nano. And they do have Fearless in now, which, I mean, I don't think Stand 1 was the problem last map in his play. It was more a problem in his hero pick. But here we see Fearless going for a jump before they have the nano, so he's soft diving. Does just get boot back, but it's enough pressure that the initial high ground is going to have to be given up, and Luffy should be able to get very close to his nano off of this engage. So it's a really well-timed soft dive from the front line. They gain some space, and now they have the nano. So this is where the comp wants to start doing its job. Now, unfortunately, Luffy is not going to have his nade for this first fight, but here we go. We get the nano. The nano does go into Fearless. There's some sort of bug where we can't see it. They're kiting it, but he really needs to be on the Sigma or the backline here. He gets pulled after trying to jump back out. That's huge. And the dive is just totally absorbed by London. And this is the issue with this comp, is it's just super low damage. So if you really want to get a kill, your hack has to be on a good target, your nano monkey has to land on someone, and your echo damage all have to get onto a killable target. And London just does a great job of playing back highly. Does get hacked, so he's not able to throw down the drone, but they don't commit enough onto Bernard. I feel like Bernard should be their target, but he plays so far back. Both the supports can peel, and nothing comes out of this first nano, and they aren't able to build up their primal. They aren't able to build their EMP. All of a sudden, London is in an insane situation to be able to force this to like a 1 minute, 30-second time bank at best for Shanghai to cap. This is such a bad situation for them to be in. So let's see. We do have, again, this high ground is not being held, so that is good for Shanghai for sure. But London just doesn't really have to be scared right now. They have so many ultimates. It's just a question of what ults they want to use first. Lip is at an off angle. Does get the hack on the Orisa. That's really big. And they're able to take cafe control because the Orisa has to run back from the hack. So that's a nice opening to the fight. But they just have no resources. How are they supposed to win? Highly pops the square for a lot of damage and sustain. No other ults used. That's fine. Like we talked about, this ult isn't even that good in the matchup. Using it just to stall out the fight is a great use. We have another nano online. I want to see... Fearless is so close to this primal. I think you might not even need to nano him to get it. I kind of want to see a nano echo and have him try and burn down a support here just with that nano damage. I really think that that would be an interesting way to do it. But no, they do go for the more conventional play. They nano monkey. He instantly pops primal, is going in the back line, getting some disruption on the Baptiste, but no one is able to follow up. Okay, they do finally take down Bernard. That's great. Stall coming out from Although with the Echo Primal, and Glister dies to a bomb. Fleta copies the Brig, so Shanghai is just not worried about doing damage at all. I do want to try and see exactly what happens to Bernard here. So he's playing in the stairs and just gets flown on by Void and purpled. So really big purple from Luffy there. I wonder where he was when he threw that. Looks like he just threw it from security, which is a really hard nade to hit with both shields being there. So props to him. That opens things up for them in a super big way. Despite Lip going down at 99% on his EMP. That could have been a fight throw, but a big play from Luffy and Void to pick off Bernard. And Sigma is going to be their primary target the majority of the time. Diving against this comp, Sigma is almost always the easiest target to kill. Short of catching Glister, I feel like there's not a particularly diveable target in Spitfire's comp. Yeah, it's actually the Sigma. The Sigma is definitely who you want to go on. Outside of really opportune openings with like Nade or a Primo hack. Yeah, I really think Sigma is your number one target in a composition like this. The Brig Bap backline together is just so hard to kill, but it is not that difficult to bubble off a Sigma with your monkey and just use your echo damage to just kill him. So that's who I would be looking for, and I'm glad that that's who Shanghai did look for the pick on. I think diving past the tanks into this super tanky backline is just going to be hard. You're better off trying to isolate and kill the Sigma in a lot of scenarios. So they do get the cap because of that early pick, and multiple ults invested by London, and they still lose this fight. So EMP, Rally, Nano, you have good options here for Shanghai to snowball. They have not allowed London to get high ground control, so this is really good for them. Fearless with an early dive. They get the EMP, and again, Bernard is their first target. They get the hack, and Fleta follows up with the damage, so I like this. I think Shanghai is prioritizing the right targets here. Fearless has a good opening to kind of split the front line and the back line. The back line runs away, and that means that Bernard is able to be focused down. He's had this flux for 2 fights now and has not been able to use it because he just gets killed so early in the fight. So that's a really good play from Shanghai, and Bernard has to feel like he's under a lot of pressure right now. Can you review Outlaws vs. Fuel? I will review that this week, but I don't want to review it today. Okay, so let's see. This fight is going to be hard for London. They're just going to have absolutely no high ground control trying to retake at the end of this point, which is super difficult for them. But they do have some ults to work with, assuming Bernard can actually get his ult off. But Fearless's Primal in this situation can be super high value. It's really easy to split the team with Primal on this point because the team is not, like, they kind of have to come out this door, come out the other door, worry about fighting on point. So Primal can be super high value in this situation. And they get an early nade that forces a very early drone. So now it's even harder for London to feel like they can push out. The Flux does come out from Bernard, and he gets 2 giant picks. And despite Fearless looking for that Primal value, he just kind of gets deleted in the back by the Bob. So 3 ults invested from London, but again, I really feel like the BAP ult doesn't matter a whole lot in this comp. You can just kind of use it whenever you want. So great hold from London. Now they get to establish high ground control and stop the card at the end of Hollywood second. And Shanghai does not have good ultimates to set up a snowball. I really want to see them play aggressively this fight and try and take a second fight. They've got about 2 minutes left. So I would love to see Void wait for JMac to put down an Orisa shield. And as soon as he puts down the Orisa shield, just fly in with a bomb and try and bomb behind. to try and force out some ultimates in response to live, and then they can come back with a nano, with an EMP, with an Echo ult, and try and cap the point then. But maybe that's what they're going to go for here. Let's see. Void is very close. They do have the nano. They might just nano monkey early, and they're kind of running out of time to be able to get 2 fights, so they might just need to win this one. They do nano monkey. Monkey's on Bernard. Bernard's getting burned down. He does get deleted again by the flood of damage. So I love that they are hacking highly so they can't drone. They're bubbling off the Sigma, and they're burning him down with the flood of damage. This is exactly how you should execute the dives against this composition. With this backline, Sigma is your target, and they are consistently making plays on the Sigma. Highly has to stop making it so easy for him to get hacked. He really needed to be playing inside of the jail there. It's unfortunate that he was not. Good bomb here to waste the Echo ult from Although. Sanguinar goes down before he can get the rally. While the Bongo is out, I don't think it's going to be enough. Too many deaths have already come through. So Shanghai really executes this dive so cleanly onto Bernard. At a certain point, I kind of want to see him change heroes. Don't you have Super Secret Owl Replay Viewer? I do. I do indeed. Would you guys rather see me do it with the Replay Viewer versus just in the VOD? I have no problem doing it that way if you guys would prefer it. I think the VODs are up in there. I would have to check, but I think they are. Alright, let's see. Yeah, this one, it's just easier for like the flow of everything. I might not be able to see every small detail, but I think that every small detail isn't really where the value is. It's more just talking about what I think of the comps and the teamfight setups. We're getting into like the really small things I think wouldn't be super valuable. Okay, so early one-on-one, Fleta going down, giant EMP from Lip, but it's going to be hard to follow up on that. Again, this is a low damage comp. Fleta is the vast majority of your damage. You EMP, you don't have the nano to be able to nano monkey, and the rally's already going. So this is a very winnable fight for London. But again, they're able to kill a tank before Hailey can get his drone out. And they're just playing around the hacks. They just always get a hack or an EMP on Hailey, and within that time, they're able to burn down a tank, even when Fleta's damage is not there. That's really impressive. And I feel like it's good play from Shanghai, but at the same time, I feel like London is slipping a little bit, and they're not using all the tools they have to counterplay Shanghai's composition here. A lot of disruption coming from Fearless with this Primal, but Void not able to sustain. Again, Fleta was not in the fight, so they get an early pick, but they just can't win the long fight against some of these sustain ultimates that London has. And that's kind of an underrated part of Ash's kit, is how good Bob is at sustaining a fight and drawing out a fight and making it take a long time. And it can be hard for this composition to deal with Bob if they don't have sleep. So let's see. This is Shanghai's last opportunity to get in here. They're not close to any of their big ults. Bomb is really their only option, whereas both Bongo and, again, the Echo ult, another ult great for sustain here. So I think that Fleta is going to have to use his ult for sustain as well to try and give them time to build this nano, to give them time to build this EMP. Luffy's actually farming this really hard. Shanghai is doing a great job of tanking some damage and letting him build this up, and they do already have this nano, as well as the bomb, and they're close to both of their DPS ults, so they're just farming so hard. I think London could have maybe made that a little more difficult for them here. But let's see. We've got Glister gets an early pick onto Fleta. I assume with that Bongo damage allows him to get the one tap. So no Fleta, no Echo ult coming out early. Decent bomb here does put a lot of pressure on the tanks. Sigma is still alive, although with not a very good copy in my opinion. I really would love to see him copy a tank and primal the backline here, Diva bomb the backline, something along those lines. But they are going to get onto Fearless. He does not build that Primal in time, and it really all comes down to the Bongo allowing them to get that early pick onto Fleta. They needed that sustain from the Echo Ultimate to be able to win this long fight against all of London's ultimates, and they don't get it. So hero pick from Glister using that Bongo damage to kill Fleta allows them to get the hold. So honestly, I feel like Shanghai was just making really good individual plays and really clean dives onto the Sigma here and winning multiple fights that I don't think they were in a good position to win. So it just shows their experience and their comfortability on this comp. And maybe London playing a little too cautious with how they hold space and allowing Shanghai to set up some of these dives too easily, where they hold space really cautiously, but they don't play so cautiously that their Sigma and their Baptiste are protected. So they give up space, but they aren't playing safe at the same time. So kind of a worst of both worlds situation from London. I would like to see them either play more aggressively with this composition to make it more difficult for the dives to come out, or to play with their BAP to hide so he can't get hacked, and use their Sigma as bait and then try and sustain with the drone. But so far they haven't been able to make that happen. And Shanghai, again, playing this, I'm going to say it, just weird-ass Rhine comp. I don't know what the point of this composition is. Why is there a Reinhardt here? Do you think Echo Sombra gets more value than Echo Ashe? I think if you want to play the Ana dive style where you cycle ultimates, then the Echo Sombra can work. I personally think that the Zen is stronger in basically every matchup, to be honest. It's just harder to play and maybe not the style Shanghai wants to play. But the reason that we used Zen in our dive comps is that we felt like the Zen damage just invalidated things like being able to cycle ultimates. We played against the teams in NA that did play the Ana dive in scrims, like Philly and Gladiators, and we felt like the Zen was much better, and we felt like we performed very well in the mirror matchup with Zen, and I definitely think against Double Shield that the Ana is difficult to make work. But that's why I feel that what Shanghai did was very impressive in their attack, making that Ana dive work in attack and consistently setting up very clean dives onto the Sigma. Glister going down early here. I'm not sure. Maybe, did he get pulled? I'm not sure what happened. I assume he did get pulled. Maybe Lee Jae-gon was hiding in some weird spot, but I feel like it's more likely that that was a halt play. And Bernard going down as well. See, and this is what I mean, where Shanghai just is willing to play aggressively with the comp, which is smart, because if they play slow with the Torb Ashe, they're just going to have less shield damage and less poke. They also have less shields because they have a Rhine versus the Orisa. So it requires them to play aggressive and take aggressive angles, and I like seeing them do that. They really understand their comp's win conditions. I just think their comp would have more win conditions if they had an Orisa. I am baffled as to why the Rhine is the pick here. Okay, so high ground control has been gained by London, but Shanghai making a team rotation to try and take it back, again being proactive and aggressive at taking space with their double shield. I very much like to see that, although almost dies to this damage. And because they're aggressive in holding this space, it means that they can hold Cafe as well, and that gives Lip a lot of area to work with. London is forced into this small corner, and this is not what you want to do when you're against the Rhine. Rhine does build up Shatter, is not able to get value out of it. The drone is forced out and broken, and then the Flux follow-up from London. So London is able to sustain here and win off of that Flux, and generally just having a bit of a better comp. Shanghai's just in a weird position because they want to play aggressively with like wide space and multiple angles if they want to get value out of this Ashe Torb combo as opposed to the Echo, but the Rhine wants to do the opposite thing and wants to play aggressive in a small space. So their comp kind of has anti-synergy, where when their Rhine is getting value, their Torbash is not. So it's a little awkward there, and London is able to cleanly take that first point after those couple of picks. They have plenty of ultimates moving on to second, but this is where it's a little difficult, where the defenders have this high ground control. JMac really needs to look for opportunities to pull people down, and it looks like that's exactly what they get. They are able to get Fearless off of the high ground, but Shanghai is quick to invest ultimates to try and win the fight as soon as they're off that high ground. It looks like Void's ultimate got canceled there. Unfortunate. And Bongo is just so good in this matchup, so much better than Shatter. I feel like it's going to be difficult. And a great Bob, forcing an off angle, taking a lot of space. But Shanghai decides to trade Bobs and their Torbolt to try and hold this. But they're just running out of gas. They're running out of ultimates. Although with an interesting play to get onto high ground here with the Ashe. Throw down another Bob. And this is going to be very difficult for Shanghai to sustain with the second Bob and the square being thrown in. And I know Fearless has the Shatter, but I want to see him get off this hero. I want to see Fleta get off the Torb. The Torb is good against dive, but I think Torb against double shield is just a bad hero. I'm not sure what he brings to the table at all outside of like countering a Tracer. But when you're in like both DPS are spam DPS, the Torb is just gonna get infinitely less value than the Echo here. And no recontest here at all. So only one fight on second point for Shanghai. That is tragic. Even though the second fight, retaking his defense can be difficult, you really want to force London to at least invest some ultimates here. But that's not the case at all. They have a huge time bank coming into third with ultimates online as well. I'd love to see them just play aggressively with the rally and keep taking space here. The rally does come out from Sanguinar. Flux as well. The Shatter has gotten no value. You expect to see this as a pretty clean sweep. The drone is broken. There's no HP left for Shanghai. They just have to run. And good space taken from London. But Shanghai has not suffered any casualties. So credit to them. They do sustain through these ultimates. But the Bob and the square coming out here, I'm not sure if that's as high value as this Torbolt and this Flux. So if Shanghai can deal with the fact that they don't have drone, they can still win this fight off of the strength of these ultimates they're about to have. On the flip side, London can slow play this, wait for their Bongo, and try and win off of that, or at least force multiple ults here. They go for a quick pull play. They play aggressively with the Bob to push in. You love to see it. Strong initial play. Void gets the Flux. It does force the drone, but they aren't able. They have nothing that will punish London for not having their drone. They're just going to have to look for a Torbolt on cart to kill these tanks, I think. Glister going for a flank. It's exactly what you need to do to break this choke. It's not an easy choke, but Fleta gets aggressive on him and is able to get the pick, just walking right in. And that's a total shutdown of this push. Great play from Fleta. The rally runs out from Lee Jae-gon, but they still hold on to this Torb ultimate. And this is really good in this choke against these tanks. Orisa is going to have to play cart. Sigma is going to feel like he has to push through this door. So if you can force this Orisa to use her Fortify at any point, this Torbolt is just a death sentence. No halt, no Orisa assist. Oh, okay. Poke and whip shot to finish before healers reacted. Yeah, talking about the pick. I think you're right. He probably just took a little spam and then got whipped right away on first point. I believe you are right, Bowles. Okay, so Fleta again getting a pick on Glister. He's just better. although doing a good job of controlling the high ground, I'd like to see him play a little bit more from this high ground just to make Lip kind of have to be paranoid about it, have to constantly peek it and be worried that something's going to happen. I feel like that's a really good use of his time. As well as just helping spam out the other Sigma, the enemy Sigma. Fearless is doing a really good job of trying to manage his resources and not get overpushed here. He does get rocked, and although has just copied the Sigma, but he's just playing the same angle. Oh, Glister with the revenge pick onto Fleta, who was using his ultimate. Let's see what was going on here. So Fleta pops his ult, pushes out to use it, and Glister just 2-taps him. I really want to see Aldo get very aggressive here and charge this ultimate. He's not doing a lot with it. Okay, he finally builds it, but he dies or time runs out before he's able to use that flux. I have not been impressed with all those use of the Echo ultimate so far. And Shanghai turns this around. What? So they're rallying, they use Square, they use Flux. Glister dies to Fearless? Wow, Fearless just lives up to his name, no fear at all, just runs in there while the other team is rallying, gets saved by this well-placed drone from Luffy, and Fleta on respawn just pops off. This is an insane hold here from Shanghai. London should be winning these fights, to be totally honest with you. I think they're not putting enough emphasis at all on pressuring Void in the corner and trying to push him out, because they're going to have a hard time just pushing through this main choke with just Orisa. Their goal needs to be to pressure this Sigma. So I'd love to see Glister play on the high ground to peek out, to make it to where that Lip has to be paranoid a lot and just change his positioning constantly, while Although and Bernard just hammer Void and just make it so hard for him to push in. But we just haven't seen that yet. Okay, good Bongo. I like the aggressive positioning. Terrible drone from Hylie. Totally unnecessary. But they do get the opposing drone forced out as well. Rally coming out also. Not very much sustain left for London at all. While this rally is still going for Lee Jae-gon, and the Ashe is going to be up for Lip. So this is a hard fight for London to pull out here. They're playing their LOS well, though. Both teams not wanting to over-aggress. Lip very close to this ultimate, and Glister again playing in this position gets punished. Just going down right here. Where even was Fleta to get this kill? Oh, right here. Again, he does the exact same peek onto Glister. This position from Glister is so risky, and he does end up going down. Wow. Wow. I feel like the entire game, London was playing better comps than Shanghai, and Shanghai just hard outplayed them. That's actually crazy. Would Shanghai's comp be better if Fearless switched to Orisa? I think it would be a lot better. I think in that final choke, you can get away with the Reinhardt if the enemy team doesn't hard pressure your Sigma, but I feel like that shouldn't be the way it plays out. Naga, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. I really thank you. 9-month streak. What the? That's crazy, bro. Thank you. Passcode, thank you as well for the tier 1 sub. I do appreciate it. Jexy in the chat. How's it going, Jexy? I appreciate you showing your support, all your positivity, man. Keep practicing. Jexy recently has been sending me replay codes of his games on ladder when he has cheaters in them to get me to watch to see if they're cheaters or to see if he's just salty that he lost. Spoilers, they're always cheaters. There's actually so many cheaters in ranked right now. It's kind of lame. So here we go to Volskaya. It's London's pick. I like this. They can definitely get away with playing this comp that they've essentially been one-tricking so far. This is a good map for it. Hanamura, which would be another 2CP map. I feel like Shanghai, playing their weird Rhine comps, would have a bit of an advantage. And what was the other 2CP? I don't remember, man. Why do I not remember? I keep wanting to say it's Paris, but it's not. But regardless, this is a good map for their double shield style. I'm surprised they don't try a Widow here. Glister's Widow is pretty good, but that's okay. They don't agree. Vowels with the sub as well. Thank you, Vowels. I do appreciate it, man. We got a little hype train going here. Thank you, everyone, for the support. I do appreciate it. I will be streaming a lot this week, so you can at least feel good that your sub isn't a waste like it usually is when you sub to my channel. So again, Shanghai playing this dive comp in attack, and again, it's gonna be difficult, I feel, to get good Ana value and to get good Sombra value in this point. So I really, they're just gonna have to farm up their nano and make a play with the nano. So let's see how quickly they're able to do that. Their tanks are just gonna keep peeking, keep building nano. They do push in for space. They do. What a nade! How do they get this nade? What is the angle here? Luffy is like a magician here. What does this nade go off of? Is this like a set nade? No, he just hits it off the... Wow, he just hits it off the forklift, I think. That's a huge nade. And good off angle from Lip. So they take a lot of space. That's very good. The double shield team was never going to be able to hold this front space. They were always going to have to fall back. But because they have to kind of fall back so fast and so panicky, it means that Shanghai can take a lot more space than they normally would be able to. So that's a huge nade from Luffy. Oh, I was going to say Fearless got so low. If he can get back, that's going to build up so much nano. Glister does die again off of a good nade from Luffy. So Luffy just finding a way to make this Ana work. And you love to see it. Fleta getting aggressive once he sees those cooldowns are down. Another nade coming out from Luffy. This man is on fire. They're just killing the whole team without even needing the nano. Actual insane gamer plays from Luffy. Hitting some ridiculous nades. And I know, obviously, Izayaki came in later on. I don't know if he played in this series, but definitely later on in the bracket, they played more Izayaki. But so far, Luffy is making this Ana work. He just doesn't care what comp you're on. He will find a way to get that nade value. And again, the team is doing such a good job on following up on those nades. And Lip is honestly doing a good job of finding hacks on the backline. But I really feel like London could do more to deal with this. Let's see. Cryptographer, again, with the resub. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Choo-choo, let's go. I appreciate it. We got the hype train. The sub is in lieu of the KVBQ. I don't owe you dinner anymore. I don't know if that's how it works, bro. I don't think we were going anywhere that had KBBQ for $5. So you're still on the hook for that. Buy me KVBQ. Holy fuck. Once all of this COVID stuff goes by the wayside, we will have to get everyone together at some homestand location and have some KBBQ. That's great. El Pica Bandito with the sub. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, pushing in. This is a worst case scenario for London here. All they have is Square. Maybe they get this Flux off, but it's going to be hard for Bernard to get a high-value Flux as Shanghai engages here. This is really scary. So Shanghai just needs to keep Fearless alive. They have so many ults to work with. You really want to see a 4+ minute time bank for Shanghai here. Ideally, they engage with like an EMP and a grenade. Okay, so that allows them to get the initial ball rolling. And then when London tries to push back onto the point, they have the Diva Bomb, they have the Echo ult to win. But I want to see them EMP, nade, and rally. Maybe Nano to help Fearless get aggressive. But don't pop all your ults. Save some for the recontest you know London's going to go for. Lip does get a quality EMP. Highly has not been hit by it and casts his square. Let's see if he can get a drone off onto the tanks before they die. He does drone Bernard, although is also getting burned and is barely living, but Bernard still dies. The drone gets destroyed. Purple on both the supports again. And just the EMP Nano rally invested. And they are going to have tank ults and the Echo ult. This is a great execute from Shanghai. They are just so clean on this composition. This is actually so good. Lee Jae-gon does die. That's a huge mistake, though. You really need that sustain to help and to keep your Ana alive. Fearless does have the primal, so he's got that to help sustain. But they've already used their Diva Bomb. They've already used their Echo ult. They have Nano now, but it's a lost cause. They only get 1 tick out of this. And I really feel like this could have been a full cap if it was played a little cleaner from Shanghai. A great engage, but the recontest from London just proving too strong. So props to London keeping themselves in the fight despite a super good opening from Shanghai. All right. Yeah, I'm actually so impressed with how well Shanghai plays this Ana comp. I feel like this is not an easy matchup. London should have the advantage. But Shanghai just feels so good on this comp and feels like they're on comfort heroes, which is weird. I've never known Lip to be a particularly strong Sombra. Obviously, he's played it a decent amount in his career, but he's only really shown on those like mechanical sort of hit scan heroes. But it looks like he's at least finding good hack value, farming EMPs, getting decent EMPs. Not a bad Sombra at all. He does, again, hack the Baptiste, but the rally coming out from Sanguinar means that this backline pressure isn't going to get anything. Glister's damage is going to help them win this fight. So rally for, winning the entire team fight, getting maybe a minute off the clock. Great play, good investment from Sanguinar. Well done. For the Shanghai backline here. So let's hop forward a little bit. Again, Poke coming in. They're close to these DPS ults. They've got the Nano. So this is a winnable fight for Shanghai, right? Whenever you have this combination of Nano and your DPS ultimates, it's a winnable fight. They just have to get that clean engage. So Spitfire's job is to know what these ultimates are in position to make Lip get low EMP value and to make Luffy get low grenade value. But so far, they have not been able to stop Luffy from getting these nades off. So we'll see if they can get up to that second tick or maybe cap here. Not great ultimates available. Bob is against the Sombra and an Ana. Bob is not the highest value. Assuming the Sombra doesn't get forced out right away. Square also not a high value ultimate. Really, they want to get this mid-fight bongo to be able to win this. Early EMP from Lip does hit the front line, but again, Highly stays safe from that. The drone comes out, but is instantly broken. Lee Jae-gon playing so aggressive next to his Nano Monkey. And the Primal comes out as well from Fearless. Just doesn't care that he still has the Nano on him. Wants to pop the Primal instantly for tempo, for space. Continuing to play aggressive in the back line. And Shanghai just knows how to overpower this front line with the EMP every time. It doesn't matter that the tanks retreat behind the corner. It doesn't matter that they have a great drone spot where the tanks can even like body block for the drone and stop the drone from getting broken, because that Nano Monkey just breaks the drone anyways. And they do get a purple off. So Shanghai just showing that they know how to execute on this comp despite it being, in my opinion, a pretty difficult matchup. So here we go. Shanghai playing this comp in defense. I love to see that. I think this comp is so much stronger in defense than it is on attack. It's way easier for your heroes to play to permanently farm their ultimates. And Volskaya is one of the very good maps to do this in defense, to have your monkey play close, charge his primal, take some damage, jump back, have your Sombra, charge some EMP, TP out, because they have to fight a little in the choke and then fight again on the point. So you have time to take that early fight, build some of your ults up, then retreat, give up the space, and be ready for that hard commit on the second fight. Decent job from London, though. They aren't allowing too much farm to happen. But Luffy already getting pretty close to this. Fleta under a little bit of pressure. London taking good space. They really need to get a good off angle for Glister, but the problem is he doesn't want to go high ground by himself, but if Sigma goes high ground with him, it's just so easy to kill that Sigma if he's not able to get peel from those supports. So Glister's gonna have a hard time having anywhere to go. Hack onto Sanguinar is interesting. Is Fleta gonna try and burn him down here? They are not. Oh, yeah, definitely a little bit of an overcommitment from the side of Shanghai. They want to get aggressive to follow up on this hack. Fearless goes in and they want to try and peel for him, but the drone stops the hack from getting any value because it was a Brig hack instead of a hack onto Hylie. You actually get slept here. But it's so hard to get back out when you don't have any ultimates and this team just gets to full sustain against you. Yeah, you hate to see it here. So the early engage was too strong of an engage before they had ultimates. Shanghai maybe a little over aggressive there, or maybe Lip just accidentally hacked the wrong target. That can happen when you're looking for that BAP hack. Sometimes you'll accidentally catch the Brig, but either way, that does end up kind of backfiring on them. And now this is a fast cap from London. They have a lot of time to work with here, even faster than what Shanghai's cap was. And they already sacrificed that nano. So they really need to get good EMP value. I want to see Lip go for an early hack on backline and Shanghai go for a quick dive. And even if it doesn't succeed, force some ults out, force a drone out, and then you'll have that EMP, you'll have that primal to be able to do a secondary dive. And it looks like they were going for that, but again, the bongo plus the headshot from Glister lets them get a fast pick. Fleta smart here, playing the off angle, looking to break the bongo, but although hunts him out, and that's a great thing to do in this matchup, is have your Echo just permanently hunt the other Echo, because you have so much better space control with your tanks. And Fearless going in the backline to try and stall is not going to be enough. The bongo damage is too much. He doesn't have nano, he doesn't have a hack, he doesn't have a purple, nothing to enable him to get the kill in the backline. So already 2 ticks, the EMP comes out, but all the cooldowns are still available. A quick drone kill is huge here, and again, the isolation and the re-engage with the primal here. So even though that first dive that Shanghai did maybe didn't go the way they wanted, having that second dive with the ultimates did work out, which you really like to see with this composition. And they're just so consistent when they have those cooldowns up at being able to find those picks. They just force the drone, instantly break it, and they're able to find those kills. And that's so good in defense on the second point of 2 CP. It's so easy if you're able to trade 1 or 2 kills to stop them from being able to full cap. But already with 2 ticks and a lot of time on the point, you have to think that if London hits that critical mass of ultimates, that they're going to be able to win this. Am I going to review Seoul versus Shanghai at all? Yes, I will. Not today. I don't want to do on my first day, just jump ahead too much, but I definitely will review that series. There's no way that we're going to skip that, but that might be later on, and that might be the only series that I do one day, just because it's going to be so long. Okay, so here we have the nano. I'd love to see the nano monkey engage with an aggressive echo ultimate to see what ults you can get out of London. London is pushing up and taking space. No problem with that. And again, we do have the nano monkey jumping in. A good isolation onto the Sigma. The Sigma is getting great peels, though, and Flux is in the room. Does stay alive despite the Diva Bomb coming out. Rally to sustain. That's a very well done play from Bernard, knowing he was going to be focused there and is able to stay alive. Now, Fleta looking to sustain with this copy onto the Orisa and maybe build up a bongo here. I would love to see London play more aggressive and push onto him, but they have not done that. They finally do get him down, but the respawns have already come out. And again, a nade from Luffy followed by an instant execute, and the drone just can't come out fast enough. Shanghai is just so good at making these picks happen. It's actually insane. And a ton of ults invested from London, and really nothing gained. I'm so impressed with Shanghai's ability to play this comp in bad situations and still get the win. Just never give up. Keep fighting always. Oh, the EMP canceled. Oh, that's such a big play. They do finally do the Nano Echo. I'm not sure if it was intentional. It was right as Fearless was jumping in. It might be a misclick, but the Nano Echo should be able to burn someone down if they can kill this drone. They do not kill the drone, though, and Echo dies. So that's both DPS gone, and the Nano and Primal already invested. So this is as good an opportunity as London is going to get. They need to sustain, and they need to win off of this rally. Can they burn down the brig? This would be such a big pick, and they do kill the brig. So this is absolutely their time to win, and they do get the cap with slightly more time on the board than Shanghai. So big play to interrupt that EMP. Honestly, on this point, you should never have your EMP interrupted by a brig. There's too many easy high grounds for you to play on coming off of these or this right here to stop you from being bashable. So you do hate to see that getting interrupted that way. Let's see if we can watch this. This is a great replay to show. You can't come in this way. It's just not going to work. And I feel like maybe that was a misclick on the Nano. They don't like, I don't think the Nano Echo is a bad play there, but I don't think that that's the play that they were going for. So this time, let's see if Shanghai can again get a quick pick without even needing the Nano, right? They got picks off of 2 consecutive big nades. One nade from Luffy to take all the space, then a second nade to enable the hard commit on the dive. So far, Fearless doing a good job of letting Luffy charge that Nano. But let's see what sort of nades Luffy is able to get here. How do you think teams in Asia compare to those in NA? I think at the top, very comparable. I think like the top 2, top 3 in each region are much better than the other teams in the region. So like my top 3 in NA would be San Francisco, Florida, and Philly. Not necessarily in that order. It really just depends on the meta that week and what the map pool is on who I think is going to win out of those 3. And I've thought Florida has been a top 3 team for the last 3 weeks. I've been saying that. So I'm glad that they showed up and performed well in the May Melee. I think the meta favored them a lot. And I think, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and then if the actual good Seoul shows up, Seoul as well, are a strong top 3 in Asia. And I think that those teams are all comparable. And then I think everyone else in the league doesn't really have a shot against those teams, in my opinion. I think that there's a clear like tier 1 in NA and a tier 1 in Asia, and then like the tier 2, tier 3 in each of those regions like kind of fluctuates a lot, and it's hard to say. But yeah, that's kind of my feeling on team strength in the league right now. So we see a soft dive here from Fearless with a bubble just for space to try and force the tanks back. This is a good dive, just again to take the space to force the shield tanks back. They do almost get a pick with a cheeky boop there from Void. You do love to see those creative plays. Bernard gets hacked. They get a purple, and Fearless is going back in. Before his bubble even comes up. His bubble came up during that jump. But he does end up getting punished because their hack, their purples, their bubble off, they were not all on the same target like we've seen in the past, right? So we see Lip gets forced out as soon as he gets the hack on Bernard, although forces him out. They purple onto JMac, but he's able to very easily retreat back. And he just ends up getting bashed and killed there. So Lip gets back in position, but it's too little too late. And Fearless is dead here, so this brig is gonna die. Lee Jae-gon definitely not long for this world. Big pick onto Fleta as well. So 1 minute off the clock, not the biggest deal for Shanghai. They're very, very close to having this nano. They do build the nano. Void's just going to have to jump off the map here. But although has built up his ultimate very, very quickly. So I'd love to see him get aggressive with this ultimate. And like play to disrupt this dive really heavily. I'm not sure what his goals are going to be. Lip farming a bit in the back line. Has a good TP set up behind them so he can constantly get in position. Fearless has done his soft dive for space. So now it's just going to be maybe 6-7 seconds. And as soon as his jump comes back up from that jump, we're going to see a bubble play. We're going to see a dive. We'll probably see a hack attempt from Lip. And then they're going to nano monkey, look for a nade, and then try and give Lip space to build the EMP. So here we go. Fearless jumps in, gets the nano. Lip is in position, looking for hacks. They get the purple. Lip gets stunned and forced out before he can build this EMP. This is crucial. And although did get the copy off onto him to try and build the counter EMP, I do not like this play in this fight. Glister is hacked and purple, potentially killable. Fleta is actually the one to go down here. Lee Jae-gon also falls. Big hack onto the Primal. They do get the EMP, and that's a wrap. Do you think Hangzhou can get into that tier 1 with Architect? Maybe. I definitely think that a second DPS is the biggest upgrade that they can make, and Architect is an insane pickup. That's so good. And multiple teams were interested in Architect. For sure, he's just a very well-respected player. A player that would be an upgrade on a lot of teams in the league. So maybe that can help them, but until I see them play more as a unit and until we find out how long it'll be until Gushua can come back, I do not know the details of that situation at all. There's obviously like a little break before we have more matches, so maybe he will be back and we'll have had time to practice a little bit before the league resumes, and we'll see Hangzhou with Gushua and with Architect just looking fresh and looking really good. I think there's some potential there. Obviously, their support line is really good. I think with Gushua, their tank line is really good. They have an upgraded DPS line. So there's a lot of potential. But I think that Guangzhou has been actually super impressive over the last month, even though they didn't perform where I wanted them to in this tournament. I think that putting them up there with Guangzhou and Shanghai will be hard. And then Seoul is also kind of like which Seoul is going to show up. Are they good Seoul? Are they bad Seoul? So we'll see. We'll see. Did you hear about Lucid coming back? I do not know whether Lucid will come back or not. I have no knowledge on that situation. Don't they lose Nero now? I think that has something to do with like visa stuff. I assume that's something, again, I have no direct knowledge of, but I assume it's like a visa issue. And usually that's just a situation of having to go back to America. It doesn't usually take a super long time to get the visa renewed and then he can come back. But that also depends on like if COVID changes how visa renewal works in Korea. Again, that is not something I have any understanding of. So it could be that they don't have Nero for a while. I would hope that by the time the league resumes that they will have Nero back. If they don't, that's definitely a big blow to them just because Eileen and Happy are very niche DPS in my mind. They don't have really big hero pools. They're just extremely good on the heroes that they can play, and Nero kind of gives them the balance that they need, kind of the 3 DPS rotation that a lot of teams use. Having one of those DPS missing obviously sucks. So yeah, I hope that Nero can come back. I think he's been playing super well, and I would love to see him back. It would just be a shame for Guangzhou to not have him as an option. Same thing with Gushua being missing from Spark, etc., etc. So you never want teams to be weak because like players can't play. That's just lame, you know? So Shanghai opting to play this slow comp in defense instead of the dive. They did lose first fight trying to play the dive last time, so I have no problem with this adaptation. London is probably more comfortable in the mirror, though. So let's see how this goes. They do push in immediately, playing aggressive to try and force Fearless out. Excuse me. But Shanghai is not afraid. They know that their Echo and Ashe have way better space and way more value. And as long as they don't let their Orisa get aggressed on too much early, that they can poke out and get a lot of value here and kind of drag this fight out for a really long time. And you love to see that. Finally, they're able to be forced back. London wins out by just double stacking their shield and hard pressuring the Orisa. So he eventually has to fall back, but Shanghai does a really good job of making that take a long time and not getting punished. Oh, J-Mac! Oh, okay. Glister does get a return kill, but I think not having your Orisa is very difficult in this situation. Oh, but Void, you can't make that play, bro. That's just a feed. Oh. Although does a great job of punishing, and this is just all but over here. So let's just go back real quick and talk about these very crucial moments. So we have a great pull, like a max range pull, this looks like, onto J-Mac. He does not get his gold off. They do not get the drone off in time because Hylie is using his square. But when he's using the ultimate, they are able to return a kill. Glister clutches up. You do love to see it. And then Void decides, okay, we've lost a kill. Our main tank is still alive, so I'm going to play to have a second angle so we have two shields so I can pressure. But he overextends and just dies to the beam from Echo. I mean, that's just not a balanced hero. Realistically, that shouldn't be something that you can just do to a Sigma whenever you want, but that's just how Echo is right now. And that's just a total GG's. J-Mac is coming back on the ball, pressuring the back line, and well played from London. Great setup, great pull there onto J-Mac from Shanghai, but it's just not enough. What's changed at the May McCree comp that we saw pre-hero pools got changed to what we see now? Ashe buffs. So May nerfs for sure. Map pool for sure, and Echo existing are the biggest things in my mind. Echo, I think, punishes Rein really, really hard in a lot of maps, and makes it very difficult to deal with Rein, as well as Ashe being good, so being able to like pull Dynamite these Deathball comps is really scary. Charge were starting to look really, really good too. Yeah, I agree. I think they're actually I mean, when they're at their peak, when they have all their players, they're a good team, man. It's really high on them coming into May Melee before Nero had to leave. Yeah. I mean, I think I didn't get to watch their matches. I'm interested to see what comp they played, but I think they could have gotten away with playing comps that worked for their hero pool, like kind of covered for the fact that they didn't have Nero, but, you know. Okay, so Shanghai gets to pick the map. Good pick from them, in my opinion. Gibraltar is a very dive-favored map compared to this double shield composition. Incredibly difficult to play this double shield comp in attack, in my opinion. So I like Shanghai picking this to force London to kind of either be on a suboptimal comp or play a style that isn't their comfort zone. Still, though, this comp is not an easy one to play in attack. Against the double shield, again, just because getting those angles for Ana value is not easy. Shanghai doing a good job of just soft diving for space, forcing the defense off of the high ground and rotating, and they need to get server room control. They need to get control of this room. Shanghai does. Their backline doesn't super need it. Against this comp, honestly. They just want to make sure that London can't hold it is the big deal here. So they really want to pressure server and not allow London's backline to safely hang out in there. That's their best position. Fearless, just pushing car. Izayaki is now in. So when they're on match point, they put Izayaki in. That's very interesting. Izayaki goes down, though. I'm sure he was just playing up on high ground over here, which is where he needs to play early. But it's scary when the defense has control of server. It allows them to play much more aggressively, even against that high ground control. So you really want to see them pressure this server room position and make it to where the tanks feel like they cannot just hold in the middle of the choke here. Izayaki very close to this nano. So this is when we're going to see the opportunity for these big nano plays. The nano, the hack, plus the nade all coming in together. That's what we've been seeing Shanghai execute. So I want to see if they can do this with Izayaki, and instead Lip gets forced out, so it'll be a few seconds before this engage can happen. They do just go ahead and go in. Lip is not back in position yet, but they do go in right away. Fearless with the nano, uses bubble, and again they burn down Bernard very quickly, but the return kills do come out. Fearless was not able to get a lot of value there, and they weren't able to get a hack with Lip either. So again, they focus Bernard and they do a good job of that, but because they didn't, like, they can't dive from multiple angles in this position. So let's bust out the Epic Pen. When the front line gets to play like this for London, the dives have to just kind of come straight on. And that's not how you want to be diving, right? When you're diving, you want to be able to come from multiple angles, right? That's how you make a dive scary. That's how you make a dive work. Really, in most cases, you want to have 3 angles of engage. And you're going to have your monkey coming in from the front, okay? You can have your Sombra cloak and come in from the back. But you need to give your Echo somewhere to come from. And if you don't have control of this, your Echo can't really help. Your Echo just ends up diving from the same direction as the monkey, and that's not what you want at all. So you want to be able to take control of this server room so the tanks feel like, oh, we can't play in a line like this. We instead have to play in a line like this. And when the tanks play like this, the backline gets forced back this way, okay? And once the backline plays there, you can still have the Sombra come from behind, but you can have the monkey dive from here. You can have the monkey dive from here, okay? And then you can have the Echo come from this way. And then you have those 3 angles. And that's so important in a dive. And because they weren't able to control server ahead of time and pressure the front line and stop them from playing like this, it's hard to get the pressure you want on the back line. And hard to get those multiple angles. Nero is insane, but Eileen Happy is still a good DPS duo. I agree very much, as long as you play comps that favor them. So, I mean, you would want to see Happy on hit scan. Obviously, his Tracer is not bad, but it's not as good as like the Tracer aces out there. You would really want to see him on Ashe. But then Eileen is not really an Echo specialist. I feel like Nero has been playing Echo a lot for them. So it's just kind of awkward. Happy can... Eileen can play Sombra like very well, but then Happy's not your Echo player. Maybe you could play Ashe Echo and have Happy on Ashe, Eileen on Echo. I don't know. It's just awkward in this meta, unfortunately, for them. Okay, so the Bongo early, huge 5-man EMP from Lip. Great positioning to come off this high ground and hit this so it can't be interrupted, so he can't be pressured at all. And then they instantly focus the front line, kill both tanks. Fleta does go down, but you have to imagine that this is going to be a good fight here for Shanghai. There is a retake opportunity from London, and they decide they want to invest their Echo ult and their rally to try and make this happen. I like going for this. There's only a minute and a half left. If you hold here, there's a chance that you just win the map. So I feel like going for this is worth it, even though it's going to be a bit difficult The Flux does not really get any value. They are able to finish off Void in the Chaos here. And Fearless doing a great job with the Nano of kind of holding the corner and not letting the recontest happen, not letting anyone push out. So the Flux comes out, not a lot going on. Although goes up to kill the Baby Diva. And J-Mac also gets off the point. And they just get capped. They just C9 mid-fight. Boom. They don't even get the touch. So, great idea from London to go for this recontest. But obviously it's going to be hard with the Nano and the Ana cooldowns to push in here. And hold this space and get on cart. But you have to find a way to do it if you're going to invest ults. Like, that's really unfortunate. Good play from Shanghai to make it work, but if you're going to be London and you're going to push in there, you have to make sure someone is staying on point. And honestly, Bernard should have just taken one for the team and stayed on point, even if it meant that he died, because he already used Flux. Like, he's not that good against this comp. He just needs to anchor while the two dive tanks are looking for kills. They're doing a great job of punishing Bernard in general, though. I mean, I know I've talked about that a lot, but it's really good. So now a lot of ults invested here for London to try and hold on first, and there's a real risk that if they die fast in this fight, that they're not even going to get a good second fight on second point here. Lip looking to get in position for EMP. This is a great opportunity! Oh! And he gets a giant EMP. Very risky. Sanguinar could have canceled that, but he hits the front line and the BAP, which is a worst case scenario for London. London has to know EMP is available, and they have to know that what Shanghai keeps doing is EMPing and killing the front line. So Hailey needs to position such that he cannot get hit by the same EMP as the front line. He fails to do that. Maybe they were baiting. Maybe they were saying, okay, let's play so that the Sombra, like, let's play on this corner so that the Sombra wants the EMP tanks and the BAP, and that means the Sombra is going to play somewhere around here or here, and we have our Brig, like, ready to go for a bash. Maybe that's a big brain bait play, but it didn't work. They didn't get it. Oh, it's so close! I feel like maybe they were actually baiting it there, and it just didn't work out. They do kite, though, and kill Lip instead of dying. How the fuck does the Orisa get out? Fearless jumps in. He goes pretty deep and bubbles and isn't really getting a lot of damage on Bernard. And no one else is there to follow. Where was Fleta in this situation? Because Fleta is the majority of their follow-up damage, right? So where is he? We see his shots. He's pretty far. And J-Mac just hightails it out of there and gets healed up. You hate to see it. So great kiting from London here, and they avoid getting snowballed. So I don't want to see any more ults come out. Shanghai is resetting. But now London gets full control. I want to see them just all go high ground. You don't even have to leave the Orisa on car here. I want the Orisa to go, oh, lip. Oh, okay. But no, they keep the Orisa on low ground with the Sigma as well. I feel like this is very punishable. So there's kind of two ways of thinking about this. And one is that you want your, let me see, okay. You want your tanks to be able to hold close, right? So that your backline, there's like a bunch of space in between them, right? So that means that they can't get on your backline. But the problem is, this comp isn't really trying to kill your backline. This comp is playing to kill these people. So playing back like this runs the risk of them isolating these targets and killing them quickly. What I would love to see Shanghai go for here is a Nano Monkey play. And with the Ashe and the Brig playing back here, it's very easy for the Monkey to jump behind and bubble these two off, okay? While they go for a hack on the BAP. So let's see if Lip can get in position to get that hack, because it's not easy to get in position on this point to get a high ground hack for Sombra. But if they can hack the BAP, they can nano engage from the right side and bubble these off, and they can have the Ana peek from the left side and look for a nade. This is extremely punishable. So that's what I want to see Shanghai go for here. Lip is trying to get in position. He sees the backline. He's telling his team where everyone is. He throws his TP beneath. Fearless is already pressuring in position, so they don't want a hard commit at first. They're just trying to force cooldowns and force space. Lip does have to TP out, and now the team is playing together. Now there is no longer this big gap in between frontline and backline. They're more directly trying to support these tanks, but this is a huge bubble and a huge engage from Fearless. He's just zoning them entirely. Getting hard-pocketed, not going to die. J-Mac gets destroyed by Fleta. And interesting EMP. I really don't like the Sombra copy from Although. I just don't like copying Sombra in a comp like this. You're just too low damage. And she doesn't offer sustain or space control. She doesn't offer anything other than EMP, but with no damage to follow up on the EMP. It's just super low value in my opinion. So Shanghai again, Fearless is just fucking carrying this team. Looks like Shanghai just weren't quite set up properly for it. Yeah. Fearless is just controlling space so well. He just gets to play wherever he wants. It's actually insane. All right. So now Lip's in position with EMP. They also have Nano. So here, again, there's a big gap between frontline and backline, okay? So one thing that they can do is bait and know that the Sombra wants to EMP in this area and look for the bash on it. The problem is there's high ground here. So Lip can jump off the high ground and get this big EMP in a spot where Sanguinar cannot bash. So this is extremely risky. Extremely risky, okay? They need to play so that their BAP can LOS the EMP and still be able to peak in time. But that's just not going to happen with how this map geometry is. So they're going to go for an EMP engage and look for the nade. This should be able to be a very clean fight win, in my opinion. He does jump off the high ground, go for this EMP on the corner, doesn't hit Hylie. Hylie is able to dodge, J-Mac also, so that means he will be able to get his Fortify off, but it's not enough. He gets purpled, they break the drone, he barely survives, all the space has been given up, but maybe they actually can recontest with Bongo here. They do drop the Bongo, Fearless getting really aggressive into the back line, zoning, no fear whatsoever. Shanghai just plays this comp so well. It's actually so good. It's crazy how good they are at this comp. But again, London just sustains. Shanghai has to get those clean kills. So yeah, London plays well around it, is able to kite back, is able to force the maximum amount of cooldowns, maximum amount of effort out of Shanghai, and they do in the long fight. And it just feels to me like London is playing the better comp. Like, they should win this matchup when they're playing defense against this composition. In my opinion, this is a heavily favored comp for London. Shanghai is just insane at this composition, and they just play so well. And I would really like to see London play more aggressive with their positioning instead of just so passive. Because every time Fearless jumps, they give up so much space. They give up so much pressure, and they just can't do that. They can't let Fearless dictate where they're going to play so heavily. They need to make it harder for them to control all this space. All right. I feel like Although was pressured and felt like he was forced to ult there. I don't like that at all. But Glister gets a big pick. Early drone forced out with no... Oh, no. The rally does come out. Lijek on tack. Killable. But he is going to live. Izayaki goes down, though. So, okay, not a terrible trade. A rally and the Echo ult for just the rally from Shanghai. And Shanghai has a lot of ults available here, including the EMP. So this is a super winnable fight with 10 seconds left. But they are going to be worried about being a man down here. This is a fat EMP opportunity, though. Let's see if Flip can get it. Flux, can he interrupt the Flux? Oh, that's huge. He breaks the Flux and gets a 6-man EMP. London's positioning. Not good. The Nano on... Oh, I love this play. I love this play. I love using Nano Echo when you have Primal available when there's a weak backline. It's scary if they have a Zen because it can kill your monkey through Primal, so you kind of want to Nano him first, then use Primal because he will just die otherwise. But against a weak backline like this, I like Primal. You EMP, you Primal, you give the Nano Echo so they can just solo burn down a tank, and then they get to copy a tank and play to sustain, but just gets instantly popped out of the Sigma copy. That's so much damage coming from Glister shooting through that Baptiste ult. And at this point, momentum is definitely on Shanghai's side, but it is anyone's fight. Glister is just getting so much value here. Can Fleta stop him? Yes. Fleta and Izayaki together do get the kill, but this Bongo coming out of spawn is going to be difficult to stop. And Spitfire do get the hold at the very end. So I like the engage from Shanghai, but London, after the EMP, plays the space well, plays wide space, which makes it hard for that dive to get value. Oop, and Glister lands some big shots. Now, this is where it gets hairy for London. If they feel like they have to play double shield in attack, that is not very good on the first 2 points of Gibraltar. Totally fine on the third point, maybe even better in attack on third point, at least the end of third point, than dive is. But those first 2 points, this is not an easy composition to play. You just have such a hard time controlling high ground, and the high ground is so dominant on this map. Lip looking for some farm early. London, I feel like, is just going to have to bunker under car wash and push the car for a little bit. They are just trying to move the car. Everyone just kind of packed together. Really needs to be happy that they did not get grenaded at any point there. I don't know what Izayaki... What was he doing? Did he, like, play close for, like, an early nade or something? Yeah. I would love to see him go for a nade on this wall as they cross in. Because they're never going to cross on this wall. They're always going to cross here. It happens every time. And you can play Ana right here and, like, just barely peek and just throw a nade, like, on this wall. And it's going to hit everyone. They can't do shit about this. So I would love for them to go for nade value here. Because... even if you don't get the kill, it's going to force drone 10 times out of 10. If you hit this nade, they're going to drone. You just chill for a few seconds, you get your nade back up, and then you can dive underneath when they have no drone, right? I really think nading on the cross is necessary here, and they aren't able to do it. That's very unfortunate for Shanghai. That's a super important part of the matchup here, is punishing the cross. Now, as they're coming out, Bernard is scaring me. But now, as they're pushing out, now they really need to be able to get the nades on the front line. And Bernard just gets farmed. Absolutely feeds there, to be honest. Not an acceptable play whatsoever. So easy to just boop him out of the drone when he plays in a position like that and just burn him down. Really, really unfortunate mistake from Bernard there. But it's just kind of part of playing this composition. It's very high risk to play the Sigma in that situation. I just got deja vu so hard. I do not know why. I feel like I have... Did like these teams play similar comps to this in a different match at some point this season? I do not know. So now they feel like they have to back up to help their Sigma, be able to rotate in, get a good pull, but Bernard is not able to rejoin the team. They are not able to help their Sigma rejoin. And this is just looking harder and harder for London. You really, really hate to see it. Just playing this comp on this point is so difficult. They're trying to push out. They're trying. At this point, the car is far enough. They just need to push high ground as a team. They need to push high ground, and they can push into server room, and then they can start moving the car. But this is just so difficult. Void makes a mistake there and does get picked. I feel like that they don't need to play too aggressive. They can farm so many ults here. Bob gets a finishing kill on Void. Lip gets a fat EMP plus a purple. But they aren't able to get the EMP on BAP, so the drone comes out, and that means that they do end up having to invest the primal as well, and it's not even a clean sweep here. They do get some kills, and they do make it difficult for this fight to continue for London, but they are able to rotate their backline into the server room, which is huge. That's exactly what they need. The server room control is so important for finishing this point. Although not getting a lot of value, again, with this Sombra copy, I am not a fan at all. Fearless is able to stay alive and get pocketed by Izayaki. Fleta copies the Sigma on a high ground off angle. This is really high value as long as he can avoid getting bursted down. He is pushing in this off angle. They're doing a good job of containing him, but it's so hard now that they're all bottled up in server room. Controlling server is important, but if you're entirely bottled up in here, it's not always easy to push out. And again, this nano is coming up. They're very close to another EMP. This is looking pretty scary for London at this point. Bernard's going to have a hard time getting flux value unless he does it really late in the fight. I want to see JMac Bongo aggressively here. I really, really do. Good bomb in. The Orisa shield gets put down. The tanks push out. So they bomb to split the team. Great bomb. Smart usage. That allows them to kill JMac. Bernard looking for some way to get flux value. But again, versus this comp, when you're in this situation, how do you get a reliable flux? Who do you look at? You're in such a bad position to get these good fluxes. The only flux you can look for is Ana, but it's going to be so hard to get the flux off because you have to push so far out, and they can just hack you. They can just sleep you, and your flux is going to get interrupted. Then you're going to be vulnerable out in the middle of nowhere. This comp is just so hard to play on first. They're finally getting high ground control as well as the server room control. So it's now finally a somewhat winnable comp, but the EMP nano is available. This is really scary. I like Hylie's positioning here. He's going to make it hard to get EMP'd at the same time as the rest of the team. But Lip doesn't even need the EMP! He just gets the naked hack and they kill Glister while everyone's peeling. Oh, man. I feel like Hylie has not dealt with this Sombra well at all. The EMP and the Primal come out afterwards, and you have to imagine that this is just a full hold. And this is just a really good map pick, in my opinion, from Shanghai, knowing that London does not want to play dive, does not want to swap off this Orisa Sigma. It is so punishable on this first and second point. And I feel like Bernard is not playing well around this composition, and Hylie is not playing well around this composition, and those are the two people that Shanghai are abusing more than anyone else, is the mistakes that those two players are making. That's how their comp works, and because Bernard and Hylie are not adapting, their team is just not going to make it work in a map where their comp is not favored. It's just not going to happen. Is a tank compy generally more valuable, would you say? It's super situational, but it is rare, in my opinion, that Sombra is the right pick. I think when you're playing this slow composition into the dive composition, sometimes copying a monkey can kind of be difficult, because with monkey you really want to primal into the backline, but if there's no one else pressuring backline at all, it can be hard to build up the primal if the Brig and the Ana are good at dealing with the monkey, right? And you're not an experienced monkey player, you're gonna get bashed, you're gonna get whip shot, you're gonna get slept, and they're gonna make it difficult to build that primal and then get value with the primal afterwards. I feel like copying D.Va is really, really good though. If they try and dive in, it's very easy for D.Va to look at tanks and to farm that bomb very quickly, and then bomb to split the front and the back line, and that allows your team to just kill the tanks that are in front of you. So I would love to see D.Va copies from Aldo in this matchup, to be honest. I think it's really, really good. I think even an Ana copy can get really high value if you play on like an off angle and you copy Ana and just look for nades on their tanks because they don't have drone. They don't have a way to deal with those nades. But I think Diva would be my number one target in this specific comp matchup. All right, so we go to Oasis. London picks Oasis, which is a solid pick in my opinion. It is not amazing for dive. I definitely don't think you can play dive in University. I definitely think that dive can work in City Center. And then Gardens, it just comes down to execution. I think dive, I think Rhine, and I think double shield can all work on Gardens, just depending on what comp you're playing against and how well you execute. If you make counter swaps, what your rollout is on first fight. That's a very volatile point in my opinion. But that means that London has a good chance to play non-dive compositions, whereas again, if they went to something like Ilios, that's very, very good for dive. If they went to something like Busan, very, very good for dive. So I really like this pick from London. I maybe would have also liked to see Nepal, because I feel like their comp is going to be really good on Shrine. I feel like their comp's going to be really good on Sanctum. I feel like their comp's pretty solid on Village. I probably would have preferred a Nepal pick here, but second choice, definitely Oasis. All right, so let's see. Shanghai playing Rhine here, but not playing a dookie-ass Rhine comp, playing a good Rhine comp. If you're expecting the slow comp, though, maybe instead of the Orisa, just maybe a Diva and maybe a Moira instead here, just so you can play really aggressive and really high tempo. But if you want to be able to play aggressive and play high tempo, but also sort of have good sustain and good fight control, the Orisa is a good frontline pick. And anytime I think you play Rhine Orisa or Rhine Sigma, you really want to play that with a Baptiste. So I like the Baptiste pick when they're going with the Orisa, but I feel like maybe if they're playing this, they could play different DPS. It's just a little bit not optimized in my opinion. And London just continuing to play their one-trick comp in a map that I think it will work on this point. I think it's crazy that they get uncontested high ground control. Shanghai just tries to play. Does Shanghai TP? Okay, they do. So Shanghai TPs and just tries to run onto point and take all the space because they expect London to play this point and to try and play in main, and they want to get wall value. But London is very smart about it. They expect some sort of a rush comp, and they just go top right away. The only comp that will beat them if they rush top, because this comp is never going to rush top. So the only comp that would beat them to the high ground would be a dive comp, and they don't expect Shanghai to play dive here. So I like this rollout. Again, London finds a smart rollout to allow them to play this comp in control, where a lot of teams do not want to play this style comp in control. They want to play in small maps. They want to play comps with Lucio so they can play high tempo, so they can play aggressive. London wants to play their comfort pick, and they make that work by having smart first fight rollouts the same way they did on Lijiang Garden. So I really like that a lot. I think London has smart ideas on how to make this comp work. But Shanghai also with smart ideas just plays directly under them, which makes the spam not super effective. London flipping the map on them, and then instantly Shanghai gets so aggressive, but they just blow up before they can even use their drone. No, they do get their drone out. But what happens here? They just run in, and Void is instantly just no HP. None. These DPS have so much ult charge already. Lip also just gets deleted by Glister here. And, I mean, that's about as good an engage as you expect to get for Shanghai here. They get a really fast engage. What was their wall? Oh, no, that was a terrible wall, actually. They pull wall, but it's not enough. It's not enough at all. They sort of wall off the back line, but that wall... Okay, so it's good in the sense that it separates the front line and the back line, but it's bad in the sense that it doesn't give them good space to play. And London did a good job of playing like really baity and not giving them an easy wall. So let's see if Shanghai decides to keep this composition. They do swap into basically a mirror comp. Yeah, Fleta's going to swap also. So they are mirroring here. It's going to be hard to come back because London is ahead, but it's definitely not out of the question. Exquincy says, hello, coach. Hello, Exquincy. How are you? Okay, let's see. All right, so pushing in here. Shanghai trying to find angles. Hailey goes down. That's huge. And Izayaki actually got his ult up before Hailey, despite London winning that fight. So that's actually huge from them. Lip staying alive, though, and the Bob invested from Glister, as well as the Echo ult from Aldo to help them. And this is a great Echo ult for me. I think if you're losing a fight with this comp, if your BAP has died, or if either of your tanks have died, if you're in a mirror, just copying that hero so that you still have the sustain, I think is very, very strong. So I like that copy from Aldo quite a bit. Even though he doesn't get a ton of value, it allows his team to stay alive. But they end up having to give up so much space in the meantime that this evil toaster play from J-Mac does get punished. And Shanghai is definitely going to get the flip here. So yeah, honestly, that just comes down to Hailey getting picked early. And I feel like I praised Hailey before this started, but I think maybe his BAP needs some work. His BAP has not been the strong suit of this team whatsoever. I would say it's actually the Baptiste play in general. The positioning of the team to kind of deal with the dives is sometimes very good and sometimes god-awful. And then all those Echo ults I feel like have not been where they need to be whatsoever to make this work for them. Let's see here. Okay, so aggressive engage from London. I really like to see that. They use the square. Oh, but Glister gets picked. The square in main is good. But is Hailey getting his drone off? Is he even using it? Like, what's happening here? Why is Glister dying before this happens? I'm pretty sure Hailey has the cooldown up. When this pull happens, you have to use your drone, bro. When this pull happens, you gotta use it. He's just all focused on J-Mac and does not realize this pull happens. That's a game-losing mistake. Yeah, now he dies as well with the drone still up. I feel like Hailey is kind of soft throwing at this point. It's 3 a.m. for me. Will this VOD be available for the not sub people? I would love to consume this content later. Not only will the Twitch VOD be up, but I will be posting these VODs on my YouTube channel as well. Because I think the VODs only stay up on my Twitch for like 7 days. So I am going to be posting this VOD on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. That goes for all the VOD reviews that I will be doing this week. I do not have any bots. So you cannot exclamation point anything. It's just YouTube, like, just look up Dream Overwatch. I don't have a vanity URL or anything like that, but I'm pretty easy to find. And I'll tweet a playlist that will have all the VOD reviews in it that I'll update every day. So just go on my Twitter. I'll pin a tweet with a YouTube playlist that'll have all these VODs for you. I appreciate the support. I hope you enjoy watching the VODs later. You do not have to stay up too late here. If it's 3 a.m., get some rest. Okay, so I love this from Shanghai. This is so fucking good. I love pushing in and double angling here. I love this, I love this, I love this. It's so hard for London to deal with if you get a well-timed flank and they aren't ready for your ults to be invested. If Bernard gets a fat flux, that's great, but because they're split, it's really hard for him to get that. This is a huge value flank from Lip. Glister almost shuts it down, but that drone already gets forced out, okay? And the bongo gets forced and broken. So multiple ults just all forced out from London. And of course, Shanghai uses bongo. They use their support ults, but that's fine because the drone is forced out And these really aggressive ults, these tank ults, are the like kill ults, the teamfight winning ults, and they're gone. Okay, they still have pull flux when drone is down. Okay, they still have the echo ult when drone is down. This is a great early engage from Shanghai, and it puts so much pressure on London for being able to touch this point. I really want to see a pull flux coming out as soon as this Bob is done. And they do get the flux. They do break the drone. And Bernard goes down. A good flank, double flank from the DPS from Spitfire. That's exactly what you need to do to get back in the fight. But Fleta is so smart, knows that they have big ults online, knows that they have space control. So all he has to do is shut down that flank. Just copy a tank and hold the flank. Don't let them push in. And their team will not be able to win. This is like a chef's kiss fucking fight from Shanghai. This is so good. I love how they pushed up to aggressively hold space. And that's what I wanted to see more from London when I was talking about push up and hold your wide space. Push up and make it so the enemy team just doesn't have free space all the time. And it doesn't work the same in double shield mirror. When you're playing double shield versus dive, you do have to be afraid of your Sigma getting isolated. But there's ways you can play around this so that you can play aggressively and hold that space more proactively. And I love seeing that from Shanghai, even though they haven't been playing this comp a lot in this set. I feel like the way they just played this comp in this map, I feel like they can play the comp better than London. And it's London's one trick. And that's crazy to me, that Shanghai is so good on both the Sombra dive and on this like hyper meta composition. Neither team playing dive on City Center. Both teams deciding to play this hyper safe meta composition. And I assume that Shanghai is just mega braining here because they think, okay, London is going to play this comp because they don't want to play dive. And they are going to rotate towards traffic, towards the cars, because what they keep doing is playing this comp and going for a safe opening rotation, so that they can get away with playing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to mirror them because we think we are still really good at this comp, but we're going to take the aggressive space instead. We're going to do the greedy rotation because we know that these guys are going to do the safe one. This is so good. And that's exactly what happens. They get high ground control while London plays the safe car side rotation. Shanghai gets to play high ground and gets the pull pick instantly. Again, Hailey is not on point with the pulls. Glister a little aggressive, but you have to play aggressive off angles as DPS when the enemy double shield composition has better space control. The only way for you to overcome that is to play wide angles, is to shoot around those shields and look for picks. Glister does that maybe a little too early, maybe a little too aggressive. Maybe if he had, instead of playing right here, okay, immediately, maybe if he rotates over here, he can like play from this angle. But then the drone is still so hard for the backline to get. This is just a bad position in the mirror. It's really hard unless you have the point capped already, okay? If you have the point capped already and your Orisa can just kind of play in this doorway over here and hold point forever, and your Sigma can like flank this way and one of your DPS can flank this way, it's really good. But if you don't have point control, then you actually have to push out and hold space, and that's when this position is very bad. And they just don't deal with it at all. In my opinion, Hailey again dropping the ball. But just the overwhelming thing here is that Shanghai read London like a book, knew what comp they wanted to play, knew what rotation they would do because they've been doing it repeatedly. Just like I praised them last round for doing these kinds of rotations consistently for first fight. Boom. Shanghai recognizes that pattern and punishes it. That's crazy. So now with point control for Shanghai, London has to find a way to push two different angles, but it's just so difficult for them right now. They can't control jump pad side unless they fully commit to it, but then they'll never get a second angle. So they really need to control main and traffic at the same time, but they can't push into main at all. And finally they get some pressure. but they use their drone and then it gets broken immediately. The square is giving them some space, but Shanghai is playing really smart with their cooldowns, not getting caught, not dying to any of these pull plays from JMac. And the Flux comes out. That should be GG. There's no drone available to defend from that Flux, and that's all you need to win this fight. It's going to be a little bit of a retreat from London. They don't have to totally leave. They can kind of keep poking and building up towards some of these ultimates. But at the same time, Shanghai is going to build towards theirs as well. Again, with the better space control. Oh, that was almost really nasty from Lip. He's building up to this Bob, and now I really want to see him off-angle the Bob, and that's exactly what he does. He throws it so that it's shooting them in the back. Good whip shot, though, to kind of make the Bob be in a much weaker position. They're still trying to play to limit the angles as they go aggressive with the pull. Fleta is there, and that's another thing that I think that we have not seen enough is although following up on JMac's pulls. That's something that even though Shanghai has not been playing this comp a lot, Fleta is so good at following up on dives with the echo damage, and he's so good at following up on pulls with the echo damage. And that's it. That's a shutout. London just kind of gets outplayed top to bottom on this last control map. But I mean, I think the story is that Shanghai is disgustingly good at playing around their win conditions on the Sombra and a dive. I think they were maybe even better with Luffy in than with Izayaki. Luffy was getting insane Ananade value. It was actually crazy. And Fleto was just playing out of his mind, always following up on plays, always making big plays, big brain, echo ultimates, big brain pushes with Torbjorn. You just love to see it. And Fearless, good pulls, good positioning, not really ever getting caught out on the Orisa, but a star on the Monkeys. So Shanghai just looking good all around. Lip doing a better job than I expected on Sombra. Void very rarely making mistakes, just holding it down, super consistent in the off-tank position. And Lee Jae-gon, aggressive Brig. You love to see it. Spitfire, on the other hand, I felt like Glister played pretty well. I felt like although didn't have the follow-up he needed as Echo, didn't have good Echo ults, I felt JMac got caught out of position a couple times. Overall played well on Orisa, but the team as a whole did not get follow-up on his pulls. I don't know if that's a team issue or a JMac issue. Bernard, I felt like got punished a lot, and the team just wasn't able to adapt to help him. I don't know that it was necessarily Bernard's issue. I feel like Hailey was the big issue for London in the series, though. And Sanguinar did pretty well in general. Had that one EMP bash, almost bashed a couple more EMPs, wasn't really getting caught out, had good rally timings, but really Hailey was just the big weak link in their ability to deal with Shanghai's aggression on the dive and on this comp, just not playing where he needed to, not getting drones when he needed to, just wasn't able to keep the team alive at all, in my opinion. All